Hello, good morning, and happy Thursday. Um, I am slightly distracted right now because I've got Zilby who I need to play with a little bit. Um, I was trying to play a little bit earlier with him, and he kind of wasn't into it. I got him fed, and now he wants to play a little bit more, but then he just ran out of the room too. So that's the thing. We'll see if he comes back. Esitsu, hello. How are you doing today? Oh, welcome back. I should see if I can get the second camera back set up again. See if Sylvia is willing to play down here. He usually isn't willing to come down and hang out with us and stream recently, which I'm not exactly sure why. It might be because it's too cold down here. But he's down here right now and he wants to play. So I've got one of these wands with little rabbit fur. And he's kind of going after it. He's mostly looking at it though. Let's see. What are we doing today? Uh, Oh, you're getting your sense of taste back. It has been a long week. I can imagine that. Yeah, it's well, I'm glad you're getting that back. Glad it seems to be getting over it. That's good news. Um so hopefully a good rest of your recovery. Oh, he likes when I do the fishing style with him. Okay. That's what he's into today. All right. Well, or maybe not. Now he's back to not caring anymore. Okay, so today we're gonna record a video on setting cores headers. And if I remember correctly, we actually figured out what we need to do back here. So we can actually take a look at our changes. So first of all, in Cargo Tomo, we're adding in Tower HTTP with the cores feature. And he grabbed the wand, and I want to make sure it didn't wrap around his neck. So I will be right back. Oh, he didn't. No, he just grabbed it by the end and took off with it, running away. And then he got to the stairs, and of course couldn't carry it up the stairs. So then that he was just sort of wondering why he couldn't run away with his prey. But that was the fastest I've seen him run. I wasn't sure if it was fear or just stealing the toy from stealing the toy. It turned out to be just stealing the toy. Okay, so we create this cores. We put the allowed methods in, and then we add a layer with that. I mean, that seems to be pretty simple for adding in cores. Okay. So we're gonna have to talk about layers is essentially middleware, and we'll go over like adding in custom data later. But for right now, here's how we can use the here's how we can use the cores middleware. All right, sounds good to me. Let's reset this all. So what are oh, they added a stash, or at least something I don't need. Discard you. Okay. I think I'm about ready for this. You all set up. Let's do this. Recording time. Now that we've created some routes, we want to set up some middleware because it's important to be able to run a little bit of custom logic in between or at least before some or all of our routes. Now, the most common one that I've ever seen or ever implemented in a backend is a CORS middleware, something that's going to set the headers so that when the browsers do the request, they know if they're allowed or not allowed to do those requests. So setting up cores is both simple but not necessarily as simple as you might expect it to be. Um, let's uh, let's first start by trying to find the cores documentation for how to set this. So I'm going to open up the local documentation for this, and I'm going to show you that there's actually a sort of a problem here. So here, let's do a cargo doc. And open that up in Firefox. All right, so if we go to Axum and I want some kind of middleware, I believe in one of these they actually have cores as the example. Oh, not this one. Let's see. Um, I guess. Okay, I want to cancel that recording. I wanted to go straight to it. Okay, hold on. Let's find where the documentation is again. So I can go there first time. For some reason I thought it was straight in the middleware section, but I guess not. If I was looking for cores. Right, I can't find it in here. Is it because I can't find anything? No. I vaguely remember that there was something in Axum for this. I wish that the search would also search the examples, like the actual code. Or at least that I could tell it to search the code. Because I'm not exactly sure where to go search in here for this. Okay, so we got our example, routing example. Oh, is it going to be down in like layers example? I left myself a note, and then I forgot to read the note, right? Didn't I? I didn't. Where did I leave myself a note? Did I delete the note already? It's not in here. It's not the most recent git commit. I already reset git, so I probably deleted it by accident. Oops. I have I remember leaving the note, and then I just don't remember exactly where the note is anymore. B4141, hello. Also, hello stacking. Um, hmm. Yeah. I that was a mistake. to not actually look through all of the stuff that I left. I probably should have put that in the README, which of course I didn't. So that was fun. Now I get to find it again. I vaguely remember we found it really quickly when I first started looking. It's under tower. How did I get to it though? Like there's the tower HTTP, and that's great. Was it? Wait. I think I went to middleware. So go to middleware. Axum is unique and that it doesn't have its own bespoke middleware system. Instead of integrates with tower. Okay, so we go to tower from that. Ooh, there was something where it didn't work. Oh, here it is. Then we go down to commonly used middleware, and then there's a cores layer. And if I click on that, there we go. It takes me to this where it's trying to go to Tower HTTP cores, but we don't have Tower HTTP, so I have to add it. So then, now this is Tower underscore HTTP, which I don't remember if that's actually the correct one. So let's go to creates Tower HTTP. It's tower dash HTTP. Okay, then I install this, I recompile the docs, and then we'll be able to find, then this will load the link and tell us how to do it. Okay, I think that's what it is. Okay, so we're gonna go back to all items here. We'll close this up. Maybe I'll open up just crates. Leave that like that. Delete that recording and we'll try again. All right, thank you, Stacking, for that. That was helpful. Now I know how to get there again. Let's try this again. Now that we've created routes, we're going to handle all of our methods. We need to figure out a way to apply any kind of custom logic in middleware for these routes. Now, the most common middleware that I've seen implemented is CORS headers. And that's for us basically telling the browsers, are you allowed or not allowed to use whatever methods, routes, origins that you really want to with this specific API. Oftentimes, when you're first developing, you might set something like, hey, just allow everything from anywhere, but then you want to lock that down to wherever you know this is going to be used in the future. So, how do we add cores? Like, how do we even find where to go and add this in? One way right now is don't add core stuff manually. There actually is there is a little bit of middleware helper for us. However, it's a little bit hard to find. Let me show you what I mean. So if we open up the documentation, and this is going to be the local docs here. So if we open that up to here, we go to Axum, and we go into middleware. It's helpful. It shows that we're going to use something called a layer to apply middleware and add this in. This is going to be sort of a custom middleware that we're putting in there. But what we want to do is scroll down to No, we want to go to Axum, middleware, and we want to go to commonly used middleware. Inside of this, it actually shows, hey, we can use cores layer. So there's a library for handling cores. Great. If I click this, we get nothing. Now this might be a little bit too small for your screen, but in the URL, I actually noticed it's trying to take us to a Tower HTTP cores page. Now we're not getting that because it's not actually in the documentation. It's not in the documentation because, well, we haven't installed Tower HTTP and we don't have the cores feature enabled. So let's go verify what the Tower HTTP looks like. So Tower HTTP. It is in fact Tower-HTTP. So I'm just going to copy this, come back to our code, and we're going to add this in. Cargo add Tower HTTP. Doing a really quick check of the middleware available to us, and cores is one of them. So I'm just going to up arrow, do a -F, and add in cores. All right, so now the cores feature has been enabled for us and added in. Let's go ahead and recompile the documentation. So cargo doc, open, and if I head back to here, hit refresh, if I now go into cores layer, it now opens up the page for the cores layer. Now this is the documentation for Tower HTTP as opposed to did I say Docker? No, this is the Rust documentation for Tower HTTP as opposed to Axum. So we are in a different crate now, essentially. Now, to use cores, it looks like we're just going to bring in Tower HTTP cores, any in cores layer. We're going to create a new cores layer, set what the allowed methods are, and set what the allowed origin is. Once we do that, we could then load in. Let's see, where is this being used? Of course, we load in that middleware in a layer. Let's go ahead and do that ourselves. So we need cores layer. All right, well, to begin with, let's create a new route. So handle cores. Actually, you know what? In this case, it doesn't matter. I don't need to create a new route. We can just use any of these previous routes. So mirroring the user agent, for example, if I send this again, server does need to be running. Cargo watch. If I send this request, I can see now there is a way to see what the responding headers are. I need to make this a little bit smaller so that way I can actually see them over here. So here's headers. There is no cores headers available here. So basically a browser would not be allowed to use this if it's a different origin. Okay, so next up, what how do we add this in? Well, we sort of looked at the documentation. Now Tower, yeah, I think you're right, stacking. Let's reset again. And I was thinking like, okay, when would I put that in? Can I add that in afterwards? But it doesn't really make sense, right? I think we need to like add in that explanation ahead of time for that, which the documentation kind of gives. Let's head back to the beginning. So come here. All items. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do that again, but this time an explanation of Tower. I probably should give a really brief explanation of cores too. That might be good. All right. All right. Next, let's try it again. Let's see, I want back to you. Stop you. Okay, so set the course headers and just close you. No, I don't need a deep dive. Just a super high level, like, what is cores? Why is cores? Because I do remember, like, as when teaching new web developers, regardless of how much experience you have, getting that first cores error in your browser because you have a separate front end from your back end is not fun. And then you go down a wild path trying to figure out how to fix it. And I would say, like, half, maybe more students would end up finding an extension in a browser that disables cores. And they're like, I fixed it. And it's like, nope, not acceptable. Remove that extension, do something else. I should probably mention that you should not ever install that extension. Just don't. Okay, let's try this again. Now that we have some routes set up and we can handle requests to and from our server, to and from, wait a second. No, there's no to and from. It's just to our server. All right, today is one of those days. All right, let's take 4 now. All right, now that we've can handle some requests to our server from a any kind of front end, we need to start thinking about cores. So if you're a web developer already, sort of playing around with Rust and Axum, you probably know what cores is and know essentially how to mitigate it. But if you're new to web development, this is going to be something that might trip you up. Cores is a security feature implemented for browsers, and a backend, so our server, is in charge of setting it up. Basically, from the 100,000-foot view, the server tells the browser, hey, you're allowed to do this. You can use a post request to this route, but in your origin, your URL has to be this. So for example, if you're on localhost, you can make a post request, but only to / whatever. That is an example of like a cores setup. They come in headers, and then an option request is usually sent behind the scenes for you. You on the front end don't need to worry about that at all. And setting up those headers to respond on our routes manually kind of sucks, which is why it's better to use some kind of library or crate or something that's going to set it up for us. To that end, let's go ahead and search to see what is available for us. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the documentation. I've actually already got my server started, so let's open up another window here. I'm going to do cargo doc, open that up, grab the URL, and come over to Firefox. And I'm actually already here. Okay, so in Axum, we're looking for middleware. Middleware is a little bit of custom logic that's going to run in the middle between when the request comes in and when it starts going to our route handlers. So that's exactly where we want. We want to run the core stuff before everything else happens. So we go to middleware, and then we go to see middleware for more details. Great. Now, a lot of this is going to be writing custom middleware, and that's not necessarily what we want to do here. There is a commonly used middleware section here, so we want to go to that next. And then finally, we have cores layer. Well, perfect. That's exactly what we want. So if we click on that, this takes us to Tower HTTP. Well, this would actually give you an error when you first get here. I kind of forgot to delete this from my local system before recording the video. You would actually not get this at all because this is taking you to Tower. Well, why is it taking us to Tower? Let's head back a little bit and go to the middleware section. So in the intro, it actually just tells us Axum doesn't actually implement a custom middleware system on its own. Instead, it uses Tower's middleware system. Now, if you're coming from Node.js and you're using Express, this might remind you of how Express allows you to use any, what was it, like common, or I forget what Express was based on. But there's a certain type of middleware that you could just use with any of those basic backends. It's exactly the same here. So any Tower-based middleware, regardless if it's made for Axum, will work in Axum. Now, that being said, well, how do we go get middleware from Tower? We have to install Tower HTTP. And we notice that here it's Tower-HTTP. If I click on that, it actually takes me to the crates page. So this is what we would want to install. So I'll go ahead and, even though I've already done this, we're going to install this again. We're going to do cargo add Tower HTTP. And something really important is that we need this cores feature. Now, this cores feature is not automatically added in for us. You're going to have to add that in yourself. So if I go into our cargo toml, we'll actually see Tower HTTP here with the feature cores. So make sure that you add that in with the -F. But once you've added that in, recompiled the documentation, we can now go back to commonly used middleware, cores layer, and it will take us to the appropriate documentation here. So how do we actually use this? Well, it kind of shows us. We're just going to do a cores layer new, set the allowed methods, set the allowed origin. So this is going to be telling Axum to set the headers that then tells the browser, hey, you're allowed to use this backend, or maybe you're not allowed to use this backend. Give a cores error. Okay, let's go ahead and set this up ourselves. So before I actually set it up, let's show that we're not getting any of these headers. I'm just going to come back to the last one we were doing, which was this mirror user agent. Hit send. Now, if you're not seeing the response over here on the right, and you're just seeing it maybe down at the bottom, I haven't figured out a way to actually see where the response headers are when it's in a smaller state. So you might need to make everything a little bit bigger so that way you can see the response headers. And in this case, we're not seeing anything about cores in here. It's going to look a little bit different, a little bit strange. It's basically cross-origin, the cross-origin allowed methods, and allowed origins. It's very verbose. But I'll show you what they look like once we add them in. So that's going to be the next thing. Let's go. So mirror user agent. Let's go find mirror user agent. Actually, I don't even need to be in here at all, do I? I want to be in mod. So we're going to add in the cores headers to every path here. So no matter what we hit, it's going to return those headers. So right here, we're going to do let cores equals cores. Was it cores layer? It was cores layer. Cores layer new. And then we're going to add in allowed methods. And as you can see here, we have a lot of options here. We can allow what credentials are allowed to use. We can even allow what headers are allowed to be set in. We're going to just put in allow methods. And I want a post. This is showing method get. So let's do method. We are using a get here, so this is going to be fine. If I wanted to add in another one, it's just, actually this should be, I believe, an array. Let's add that in. Array, and we want maybe a method post also. And then we want allow origins, and we want to allow everything from all, which is a little bit hard to find out here. Oh, sorry, it's any origin, not all origins. Any. That gives us this cores layer, and then we're going to use the layer method here, and then add in cores. And that's it. That's how we've now added cores that we've set up here as a middleware function here. Now, the order that middleware happens is a little bit odd. You notice I put this at the bottom. If you're coming from, almost every other backend framework that I've ever used, the routes actually happen from top to bottom, so therefore you have to have the middleware at the top. But it's kind of the opposite here in Axum world. We actually want to put the layer at the bottom, which will affect all the routes above it. All right, so let's head over here, and if I hit send again, we now have this origin access control request method, access control request headers, and access control allow origin. This is that any. This is telling now a browser, if it were to look at this, that it can request and find out more information. Notice it's not actually saying that it's a get and a post method. It actually sends a options request first to the backend to find out, hey, can I do this thing? And then after that, if it can, it does the real request. Now, another note is cores is only for browsers, really. Here in Thunder Client, it doesn't really care because it's not a browser. This is just code running on a backend. If you're using something like Postman or curl, it also doesn't care about these at all. Once again, it's really just browsers. But it is still important to have it because there's a lot of security implications when you don't have any sort of cores protection. Okay, so that is how we add in cores middleware, or at least also middleware created by somebody else, into our system and wrap it around all of our routes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. I wonder if I'm gonna need to do a like an actual real intro on cores. I haven't really thought about that. So that would be cores middleware. A course on course. It might have to be a course too. Like cores is complicated. And I think the thing that bothers students the most is that you can get cores errors when it's not a cores problem. I mean, it kind of is a cores problem, but it's also like kind of not. So if you're not using a backend and you're just trying to like grab a file from the the file system. So you're loading your entire website through like file colon slash slash. You could start getting CORS errors if you try to do like a GET request to like a JSON file to like load up some data or something. And it's one of the reasons why eventually I switched over to like never showing students that you can't even load an HTML file plain and direct. It's just, no, use a server. Here you go. Run this command on your terminal and you got a server. Okay, so we set CORS headers. Next up, creating a middleware function. So this is a little bit more involved. And can't remember exactly what we did for this. You're not going to know your own with implementing your own features and rather use the familiar async await syntax. Yes, please. Like, why not? And also, you don't intend to publish your middleware as a create for others to use. Yes. Oh, middleware written like this is only compatible with Axum. So basically, we can write Axum middleware or middleware that works with anything with that implements a tower type system. This is the one we're going to use. That brings, okay, so we're still in middleware. We're still in Axum too. Create a middleware from an async function. Take request B as the first argument. Take next B as the second argument. Return something. Okay. I like how they just give a very brief, like, here's the steps to do. But then the example is all you really need. So just take in this unknown thing. Return this unknown thing. And do whatever you're going to do with in the middle. So what I want to do for middleware, I'm thinking. I'm thinking for this. Well, I've actually got positioning middleware. So this create, okay, so I think we move this, we set the CORS headers. Now let's use layers to share data between routes. Oh, and then we'll create middleware to put in there. Okay, I think that would work a little bit better. Right, and we're going to use an extension, I believe, to add that in. Okay, so an extension. So if I were to create a new test struct, so pub struct example like shared data maybe, and we just say, I don't know, pub message hello from shared data. Oh, I don't put that in there. I put a string. What am I doing? What am I thinking about? Okay, so I do that. Let's create the shared data here. Hello from shared data. You're a string, so I need that to be toOwned. Then we're going to come down here and add this as a layer. I want this to be an extension. And we put in shared data. And I think, okay, it needs clone. Okay, so that's now happy. And then in routes, I guess like I could just use one of these. Let's just keep on using this mirror user agent. I could then grab that from here. So extension, shared data. That is extension shared data. Let's return the shared data dot message. Yes, I know you're not being used. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Back to you. There you go. Hello from shared data. Okay, great. Perfect. So let's go ahead and close you all down and reset Git. So I want to save you. Okay, you get there, you get discarded, and you are let's see, sharing data between route handlers. Plan. All right, let's try this. Another use of middleware in backend frameworks is to share a little bit of data between our different route handlers. For example, what if we have some kind of config file that we want everything to have access to? That could be really helpful in sharing the data back and forth. Let's go ahead and set up a new route, and it won't be a mirror, but it will basically maybe just display what we have in this route. Let's set up our Thunder client route first. So we're gonna do a GET request to HTTP localhost port 3000. Let's go to like middleware message. And of course, 404 not found. Not surprising, we haven't written the route yet, but I just wanted to sort of like almost test-driven development for this. Let's head back into routes and create this for us. So we're going to call this middleware message.rs. Come back to mod and mod this. All right, we're going to have a pub async function middleware message and use that in the route here. We're going to make sure to do this below, like above the layer for cores. So route, going to go to middleware message with a slash. For the service, we're going to do a get middleware message. If we do accidentally bring in the route handler with parentheses like this, we just need to remember to remove them. Otherwise, things will break in kind of weird ways. All right, so we save that. If we come back to our test, at least we're getting a 200 okay, but no message in here. So let's fix that. Let's head back to mod because this is where we're going to set something that the route can then, well, have access to. I'm going to create I'm going to create a struct that we're going to pass in as a layer. So we'll do a pub struct. Let's do a shared data. We'll have a pub message, and that will be a string. Let's create an instance of shared data here. Let shared data equals shared data. Message will be hello from shared data. And we'll own that. Okay, now adding it in is the same thing. We're going to use a layer again, but instead of just dropping in the struct, we have to wrap that in something called an extension. So basically, we can't just throw whatever we want inside of a layer. It has to be something that the layer, well, specifically takes and understands what it is. So we'll do a layer. And so this is an extension, which comes from Axum extension. Now, the extension is a tuple type, so we can now add in the data to the tuple struct of extension. So in this case, shared data. Now, it's yelling at us because we haven't implemented clone on shared data. Okay, that's great. Let's implement clone here. So we'll derive clone, and now it's happy. So this does let us know, because we have to implement clone for this to work, that is cloning the shared data to hand it to each of the handlers. So if you have actually like mutating data, or you want to like mutate it, there's a better way to do it. Let's not worry about that right now. Let's now head into our middleware message and now retrieve this shared data. So it's going to work exactly like an extractor. We're going to put this into the function signature here and extract out the shared data, except it's not really extract, is it? It's the extension. So we follow the exact same pattern. We use extension, and we'll put in shared data. And the type here is going to be an extension with that shared data data type. And at this point, we have complete access to this shared data. Let's go ahead and return a string. And we're going to return the shared data dot message. Now that clone is the reason why we don't run into any ownership problems here, because we're taking ownership of the message from shared data to send out as a string, but it doesn't care because it cloned shared data for us. Back to our request, if I now hit send again, now we have this hello from shared data. Now, as I mentioned in the cores middleware, the positioning of this layer is really important. If we want everything above this to have access to shared data, we need this to be below it, for example. So in this case, here is fine, but here is not. And if we try to run this again, we end up getting a 500 internal server error because it can't actually find the shared data. It's just not available to it. So if you do run into problems, check the positioning of your layers to make sure it's where you expect them to be. So in this case, I'm going to put it right below where we want to go. And that's how we share data between layers. We'll show in a future video how to maybe set up your own custom middleware and add in some shared data inside of that. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, so let's label this shared data, shared middleware data. And then of course creating the middleware functions. That's gonna be fun. So sharing data using a layer. Creating a middleware function. So unfortunately, that's probably going to be tomorrow because we're going to spend today remembering how to do that properly. So if we come to the middleware, go to writing middleware, it then has these two choices. And I think for this course, we're only going to look at from function because we're writing our server. Like this entire thing is about like an introduction to Axum. We're not writing like libraries for this. So we go here. It tells us the instructions, but we're gonna use this as our recommendation. Okay, so it's just a normal function. It is async, and it takes a generic. So looking at this, let's head back into mod, and we can create another. I guess we could create like the middleware down here. So, what if we want something that like adds the shared data in, or it manipulates the shared data? No, I think we want to add in a new. We want to add in a new shared data. I think that makes sense. So, we'll do. You don't need to be public because we're using this here. So actually, I think I would want to create a new file. We'll call this middleware because I think that's a little bit more appropriate to how it's really going to be used. Okay, so we're gonna have pub async function, maybe like add message middleware. But that's not really appropriate yet, right? Because we have to take in a generic B, and that's going to be this rec that's a request B. Okay. And then the next is also a B too, because we're passing that to the next thing. Okay, so B, we have our request. That's a request B, and we have our next, which is a next B. Okay. We're going to return a result with a response and a status code. Actually, it's good to do this now because then our custom responses will sort of have seen this before. So result, we have a response and a status code. Yep, so now it's yelling at us that we haven't implemented that. Okay, so at this point, we can get headers from the request. We can sort of access that. What we want to do is now, I guess, because this is the only thing for like getting stuff like that, we can get access to. So we can do request dot headers, for example. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll mirror back a header, but I'll set it like the user agent maybe, or something like that. So we have our header map. Yes, I know. You're upset. So I want user agent equals, okay, so we have headers dot let's get user agent. You should always be existing. Then I want an as stir. Okay, so we have, we get the header out, we convert that into a string, and then I want to now set this as an extension. If I remember correctly, is it part of the response? Or is it part? I think it's part of the request, right? So we do request dot. We have extensions mute. Oh, then we can insert a new extension. Okay. We insert a new extension. And then we just insert whatever we want. And it has to be like a very certain specific type because that's what we're getting out of it. So in this case, we could we can add in that string for like the headers. So user agent. Now, this doesn't mean we can only have one type of header, which is why wrapping it in a special like custom message is probably a good idea. Let's actually show that off too. So we'll have a pub. I wonder if I think this is gonna need a clone. Maybe not. We'll do a pub struct. This will be like user agent. Agent will be a string. So user agent, user agent. Okay, can I borrow? Okay, so it's declared as mutable. So request. Ooh, can I do that? Do you have to be mutable? Maybe I can do that. Ooh, yes. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I definitely need to do this as immutable. So then, can I make you a mute request? I can. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So extensions insert. That's great. We then call. We call next. And I think we return okay. Or is like okay next? And pass in the request. I vaguely remember oh, how do I do that? It's okay next. Oh, it's okay next run request. That's what it is. Okay, so next run request like that. You need to await. There we go. So then we insert this extension. That's great. We've added the user agent into the special user agent type. So we're going to come back to mod and pull this into a layer here. So layer. So I'll probably want a custom route for this to like handle it. So then layer, I think we just use it now as it were. So that's going to be our add message middleware. Use middleware, add message middleware, add message middleware, like that. Pandox, hello. You're learning a lot. Awesome. That's great to hear. The crate. Okay, so it doesn't. Oh, right. We have to do this middleware from function. Ah, I forgot about that. We do middleware. Oh, I can't name this middleware. That's going to cause weirdness. Okay, that's good to know. I don't want to name this middleware. Renames. This will be maybe like custom middleware. There we go. Custom middleware. Then I should be able to do middleware from. So use Axum middleware. Okay. From function. And then this will be the what did I call it? Add message. Okay, so add message middleware, and then I don't have the parentheses. There we're happy. And so now, for example, in middleware message, if I go into that, we can extract, we can just use an extension here. So an extension with the user agent, which is extension user agent there. And I could return that. Oh, user agent dot agent. What was I? What was it? Oh, I need to make it public. Your public dot. Oh, it's the wrong user agent. What did I call this? Oh, I shouldn't name that user agent either. This is custom user agent. Custom user agent. Now I can do user agent dot agent. There we go. There we go. Okay, so mod is unhappy. Why are you unhappy? Because I did something inside of middleware message. Because you're now getting, you're extracting this out as an extension too. Function it's not satisfied or implemented for a layer. I should verify whether or not this works. So this is middleware message, which I think was the last one we did. Oh yeah, we definitely got an error. Yeah, so get this. Handler is not implemented for sure data. B Porter, good morning. Hello. All right. What did I do? You were happy before. Is this something I pulled in or so we have this middleware here. So that is before it because it's after it for reasons. Oh, wait. Why are you a self? That's not the problem, but that was a little bit weird. So we have middleware message. That is the pub async function. Okay. We use that in a route as the handler. Ooh, so wait. This string, impl feature output required a bound introduced by this call. Okay. I need to go look more at the documentation. So, oh, it's a route layer as opposed to a layer. Okay, hold on. A route layer. You're still happy there. Now we have this thing is of course not showing what I want. Passing states. This is the one that I was interested in. Well, okay, that's not how you would do it normally. All right, well let's go look at how I did it last time. Okay, so this was backend, Rust, Axum, project solution, source, routes, middleware. All right, so we had our auth required middleware with a generic. So we had our meet request, next. Okay, we did that entire thing. We did the headers like normal. We did all the fun stuff. And then next run request, or we air it out. Okay, so this looks relatively normal, but I am adding in here, I believe. Where am I adding in request? So request, okay, so get them out of here. Request extensions mute, insert user. Okay. That's similar to what we're doing. We're doing the same insert. And then an okay, next run, request.await. Okay. That seems very similar to what we're doing inside of here. Just wait. Where custom middleware. Yeah, it's very similar to what we have here. So we have this custom user agent. We're getting, okay, so request extensions mute dot insert and then the type, so the new value. And then okay, next run and pass in a request and then await that. So that seems appropriate. Then up here, oh, we are doing layer. So it is just doing the layer, and then it's Axum middleware from function auth required. Okay. Okay. That makes sense so far. So back into here. So this is layer again. It's going to be, now this middleware is Axum middleware from function. So Axum middleware from function, add message middleware. Okay. So far so good. Similar there. Okay. Now, then if we go into this delete task, that would be, wait, that would be tasks. Delete task, for example, we could then just do this extension, user extension. Yeah. Sort of what I thought. Why is that upset? What did I do wrong? You are yelling because we go to middleware message, extension. So there's the custom user agent that we can grab out of here. Extension user agent is this extension custom user agent. Okay. And then I want to return user agent agent. I mean, that seems right. It's async function. It's after this. Maybe put you right up there. No. I can make you not do the shared data. But you're still upset. And that's still a real problem. The trait handler unknown is not implemented for extension custom. So function extension custom user agent that returns to a string. It is still a, wait. The get, did I screw up like get or something? No, here's the get. Did 17 start changing the API? I'm pretty sure the test project is on 16. Um, oh, that's a really good point. Everything was working so far. Let's check the. So I have 0517. Let's bring ourselves back to 16. No, still okay. So still an error here. So good call out. That could have been it, but it's not. I feel like it's probably just something I did really. What's this from? Oh, this is theirs. So required by bound and Axum routing get. Okay, so it's in a macro of theirs. Okay, that is going to the correct place. So I didn't like somehow overwrite get with something else. We have middleware message. I didn't overwrite that with something else, right? So if I guess if I take this out and I just put this back the way it was. So just gonna put share data dot message, please. Right, so that works. Oh yeah, that's a really good point. We need to have like this is where versions are like super important because this is going to change a lot. Yeah, that's a good call out. All right. I'm going to put notes to myself in the readme. So create middleware function. All right. So notes. Here we're going to say uh let's see, explore creating middleware again. Custom middleware again. Uh, so I probably want to just like start over with that. Just to try again. Just maybe I did something really silly or weird. Something else. During the recording. So remind like during recording, state that versions are very important. New version of Axum will eventually or will change how middleware works. Okay, so we got that. Besides that, I'm not exactly sure. I wish I could just like point to something and know like, hey, why aren't you working? Um, so you have a layer, middleware from function, add message middleware. Did I forget to like add something in? I have clone for that state, right? Oh, wrong one. Where's my middleware? Custom middleware. I don't have clone. Is that it? Was that the problem? Was that the problem? Um, that was the problem. Oh my god. Okay. That is a terrible error message for what is happening. Okay. Uh back to readme again. Um warning. Implement or derive clone um on like struct being added to extensions. Yeah, the U course did have that problem, and you're right. That does buy me a little bit of time. That is absolutely true. Okay, drive class. That's a thing. But okay, I'm glad we figured this out. So now we know. Have that in there like that. Now we know, and this should be relatively simple for us to find and create now. Ooh, okay, so we're gonna create a new route probably, or we can update a route. Probably create a new route for that will then take in probably like we could just do like the showing off the user agent because I think that will be enough. It's accessing the headers and then going from there. All right. Fun, fun, fun. Hey, look, Togglebit is live. Let's raid Togglebit. Let me load up Twitch also here. So I can join in on the fun. Also make sure he's not about to end. Doesn't necessarily look like it. He's looking at This Week in Rust, and doing bug fixing on his backend project. Oh, looks like he's looking at a blog post about JavaScript in Rust. Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's sort of web developy, so that's perfect. Let's go ahead and set up a raid for him. All right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I do these streams Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, so I'll be back tomorrow morning for we're going to be recording the creating middleware function lesson, which has been a doozy so far, but hopefully it should go relatively smoothly tomorrow, especially since I've now recorded the message for myself in the README, so I won't accidentally delete it this time. Hopefully, and and then we can go from there. So once again, thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day, and bye.